Hi everyone, Justin Paperny checking in. To begin, of course, hope you and your families are safe and healthy during this very trying time with this coronavirus. And I know dealing with a criminal investigation and a potential sentencing and prison term is enough. Now you've got to take this virus into account. So I empathize with all of you. And like always, I want to provide some valuable advice to ensure you're using this delay or quarantine productively and positively. So let me jump in by starting with the obvious. I will be posting some updates with emails I'm getting from clients all across the country with respect to cleanliness, precautions, and things that prison administrators are taking. I'm routinely asked, are they doing a good job? Look, to begin, the Bureau of Prisons is going to tell you that they take care of prisoners properly and productively. The last thing they're going to do is come out and say, yes, we do it poorly, release everyone because we can't do our job. So I think we have to be realistic about what the Federal Bureau of Prisons is going to do with respect to releasing prisoners early. I've been asked, do you think it could be a mitigating factor at sentencing? I think it would be illogical to think that a sentencing judge would not consider this coronavirus for an elderly or sick defendant who's already nonviolent, who's already very low on the sentencing guidelines. So time will tell. As I get that information, I will continue to relay it both through YouTube and also our sites, whitecollaradvice.com. And others. The purpose of this video is to address a number of questions I've been getting. In fact, it's 3 o'clock. I'm working from my new home office in Irvine, California. We've moved from Calabasas, and I'm not in the new office yet because we're on this quarantine. So if my kids run in, we've been disclosed. Literally, right before I did this video, a client texted me and said, my sentencing has been delayed 6 months. How can we use this time to our advantage? And I really love that text message because that's really the heart of our work. Eventually, even with this delay in the coronavirus, if you're in the crosshairs of the criminal justice system, you are going to get sentenced. The question is, how do you use this delay? I've said before, and as I wrote about in Lessons from Prison, of course, any of you can get for free, I wrote in there that a number of prisoners love to say, I'm going to begin preparing when I have 6 months to the house, which is prison parlance for 6 months to the halfway house. And of course, the prevailing idea is they're delaying preparing. They never really get started. By the time they have 6 months left in their sentence, they're so ingrained in their habits, whatever it might be, good or bad, they just never get started. You just can't turn on the switch 6 months before sentencing. So I encourage all of you whose sentencing have been delayed. We've had more than 10 clients due to be sentenced in March, April, and May, already delayed, and probably all of them will be kicked to the fall. All nonviolent offenders, all have frankly been out for a while. So the question is, do you suddenly re-emerge and pick up 30 days before that set sentencing date and say, okay, I'm ready to pick it up. I'm going to get the letters. I'm going to write the book. I'm going to write the narrative. I'm going to look for work. I'm going to repair my reputation, work better with my lawyers, hold them accountable, exercise, stay healthy, eat water. Are you just going to wait like so many prisoners, like so many defendants do? Or are you going to say, this is a horrific experience, this coronavirus. I would wish it on no one. But if I am going to be delayed, I might as well use the time productively. So the first piece of advice I would give is to fixate on what you can and cannot control. Cannot control when your sentencing may happen. Cannot control if your lawyer can't give you a set date on when that sentencing is going to be. But you can certainly control what you can do today, even if you're quarantined and working from home. Okay, you can continue to grow your network. You can continue to write and to develop new skills. Okay, you can continue to use this time wisely to create that new record that we discuss. Because in our work, we talk a lot about post-defense conduct. Last week, I got a call from a physician back east who said, I failed a drug test. And I said, why would you fail a drug test? He's like, well, it was coronavirus, stressed out. That's the rationalization. Stressed out on this coronavirus. My probation officer did a random check. I figured this guy was off the grid for a while because of this virus. The whole city's on lockdown. I said, I don't ever remember anyone saying the federal government has been shut down. I don't. Maybe the LA Fitness is off the grid. Even Starbucks and McDonald's are closed for service. I don't remember the federal government being shut down for service. So he got a random drug test. He failed. And now what's the rationalization? It was the coronavirus. He's making his post-defense conduct worse. That's going to go in his report. It's a mitigating factor. I'm not saying he gets remanded to custody. What I'm saying is it shows that he's continuing to make bad decisions, bad choices under the idea the probation officer wouldn't reach out to me. You can't get lazy. You can't get loose. I have shared this story when I lectured at the FBI Academy many years ago. Paul Bertrand, the FBI agent that arrested me, invited me to speak, and we've now become friends. I said to him over breakfast the day that I spoke, I said, any white collar cases really gone away because of something crazy happening? And this is in March of 2011. He said, well, after 9/11, we had to reprioritize some resources. I'm like, did any guys get away? Did guys who you were investigating just totally go by the wayside? He's like, well, a few went away. But if you were in our crosshairs and we knew that you had done it, it was just simply a matter of time before we got to you. I said 1, 2, 3 years later, he's like, yes, within the statutes, most of the cases that we were going to prosecute, we did. They just got delayed a bit. We're just not going to let obvious frauds and crimes go. So while some went, because there were so many they had to contend with because, of 9/11, the majority of them, he told me they still prosecuted. It was just weeks, months, and years down the road. So think about that. There is no doubt this coronavirus is going to delay your sentencing or an investigation. I got 2 calls last week from defendants who were like, I think I'm under investigation. I have a pretty good idea, but maybe they're just going to forget about me. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news here. I don't want you to unsubscribe. I don't want you to dislike this video, but you come here in part so I can speak directly and openly and honestly to you. If you're in the crosshairs of the criminal justice system, it is very difficult to emerge unscathed. That's why you need to work, as Michael Santos liked to say to me. You need to work under the idea they're coming. You need to work under the idea their investigations are continuing. They have our tax dollars. They are not shutting down. Could be delayed. I beg you to not do what this physician back east did, which is fail a drug test and delay install under the idea I'm going to get around to it, but say this is a horrific thing taking place in our country, globally. But to the extent that I can use this time productively, I can. To the extent that I can control my response and have a sense of discipline, not follow others who are telling me to delay and wait, to use your own judgment, to embrace the reality of the situation. If you can do that, imagine the record you can create 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months from now. Now, for some of you who are under investigation and who, if you're in the small sliver where they forget about you, still do the work, still invest the time. It's kind of like an insurance policy. I hope to God you never need to use it, the content you've created, the work you've put in. But just in case if it happens, it's there. You got to create that insurance policy for those of you who are wondering because of this if it's ever going to come. I've shared this analogy before. I have a life insurance, disability of my wife and kids. I hope when I go for an 8-mile run tomorrow morning, I don't get hit and killed. But God forbid if I do, they got a big policy there. I don't ever want to use it, but it's there. You need to create that same insurance policy right now if you have a sentencing upcoming. Or beyond that, if you're in the crosshairs and you think that you're being investigated. So that's how I'm going to wrap up this video. I am routinely asked, for the last 11 years I've been asked, I got a delay of my sentencing. Is it a good or bad thing? It depends. It depends on how well you want to use this time. You can invest in good literature. Actually, don't even invest. It's only an investment of your time. Get Prepared that I worked on with Michael Santos, 70,000 words of free content. Preparing for sentencing, prison, the First Step Act, how to work with your lawyer, preparing for a probation report. You don't even have to buy it. It's just an investment of time. Read it. And I guess that's how I'm going to wrap up this first video from my new home office in Irvine, California. If you have a sentencing coming and it has been delayed, which I expect it has already been or it will be, do not look at this as a vacation to sit back, relax, and think the government is going to forget about me. I thought that happened to me for a while. My case went on for 3.5 hours, 3.5 years. At one point, I didn't hear from my lawyers for 8 months. I remember telling my buddy Sam, I'm like, dude, I think they forgot about me. I think I'm kind of off the grid here. I think I'm in the green. Like, I haven't heard anything in like 8 months. Like, how could they be letting me work and sell real estate and like do $1 million deals? And then 2 days later, I get an email from my lawyer that said, you need to come in and talk. And by the way, bring a check. They have not forgotten about you. You are in the crosshairs of the system. If you're under investigation, work under the idea that it's going to proceed. If your sentencing has been delayed, I beg you to use this time wisely. And if you can do that, you will emerge from this experience better and stronger. You'll get a better sentence because I believe the judge will have seen the work that you will have invested. And lastly, do not use this case as an excuse do not use this virus, as tragic as it is, as an excuse to make bad choices. Sort of like that physician back east rationalized, I smoked some dope, I got caught, I'm stressed out, I thought probation was off the grid because of this virus, it was totally random, going down this whole fraud triangle opportunity path, and now his post-defense conduct is making him look poor. And I'm rambling on. So you have 2 choices if you're a defendant awaiting sentence because of this virus. You can make matters better and create new content and prepare, or you can delay and stall and live like the ostrich and pretend this delay gives you the right to take action down the road. It's not the road that I would suggest, but you have to make your own choices and own them. So as I wrap up, I encourage any of you, if you want to get a couple of our books for free, Lessons from Prison and Prepare, I'll put up a couple of links to them. I'll continue to send messages on this virus and what I'm hearing from prison. And I wish you all well. If you like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, and if you have questions, feel free to reach out. 818-424-2220. Be safe, stay healthy, and I look forward to returning soon. Bye-bye.